sideways. Let me just try to straighten that up. Hey guys, Bolt here. We're here with a summary of Little Nightmares. So I'm sorry again. I'm probably gonna say this on tomorrow too about not being able to do Monday, but human error happens. I got the decorations up to make sure because we're running out of Halloween spooky season, which is sad because it's my favorite time of year. Horror movies, horror games, amazing artists. Like there's an artist who made an entire like picture of every horror villain ever. But anyways, let's get into this. And then tomorrow we'll be doing the end of the rewrite for the Dragon Ball. I keep forgetting that existed. I also got to go back and do... next Friday I'll be doing the modern stuff we know about Five Nights at Freddy's. Because I did the main game stuff. I never got into like Help Wanted 1 and 2 and all that. So anyways, let's get into this. So Little Nightmares, I would suggest if you haven't played it, I'd either go see a rundown of like the gameplay and like the biggest moments, because that's basically what you're gonna need to see anyways. And I'd go from 2 and 1. 2 is a prequel to 1. So anyways, let's get into this. I was wanting to play these games mostly because Little Nightmares 3 has been announced. There's a teaser. It looks like it's going to be a co-op campaign, which I'm hoping for. I think Takes-Two is kind of the like similar thing that I want it to be, because not gonna lie, 2's mechanic of having someone else was annoying because you didn't get to see 6 that often. So it'd be nice to be able to run around with that friend or an actual decent NPC. But anyways, let's get into this. So Little Nightmares is basically just a world like ours, but like outside powers and other entities have morphed it to where human beings are basically straight up monsters. And the only people that are normal are like children. And this is either a take on the ugliness of the world, and once you get into adulthood, you become a monster because you have to throw away, your wonder, your exploration, the idea of the wow factor of the world goes away when you become an adult, and you have to like lose a lot of stuff to keep yourself normalish. But anyways, I think it's just for this world, it's like, hey, there's someone with powers, and because that person with powers messes with more people, those people either lose what they are as a human, like in the first game, the Moan. Basically, it's a tall lady that can like eat souls by being in their vicinity, and because of that, they become like soulless gluttons for food. But anyways, let's get into the most story. Mostly, all the kids are running around trying to like live and survive this world, and most of the adults either make them food, make them like their playthings. Like I've seen them making them into like figurines and dolls, or materials, and then there's also like the school in Little Nightmares 2 where they tried to raise them into the little nightmares they are. But like the only people that really stand out as main characters would be Six and Mono. Mono is the bag wearing character in 2. Six is the raincoat from the first one, but she shows up in the second one. So, like I said, the second one is a prequel. It's basically Six was captured by the Hunter in the first game, or the second game in the first part. Mono saves her. They become like acquaintance, like friends. Survivors together more than anything. I didn't realize that right there is messing with me. And they kind of go hand in hand for a while. They have their little issues. Then they run into the Thin Man, which is basically one of those entities that modify the world through their powers, and he has like telekinesis slash like TV powers, and throughout the town and city that you go through, you can see people are addicted to television, which I believe this is a talking point on how the world is right now. But anyways, the Thin Man basically gains subjects through the TV. He also like gains power through these people. And in the end, he captures Six. She becomes a monster through getting her soul taken through the TV. Mono comes to save her, kind of like coming her back to her senses, but because she's through the TV, she's not complete. But the issue is that when Mono removes his bag to fight off the Thin Man, and finally when she starts realizing it, the Thin Man and Mono are one and the same, and at the very end, she has to try to make a decision on to drop him and try to stop him from becoming the Thin Man and making the world worse, or save him and risk the chance of him becoming the Thin Man. But the issue is she chooses to drop him into the abyss of the TV tower, and that is the process that makes the Thin Man. He gets stuck alone, locked away. He becomes an adult over time, and once he's released by the past Mono, he's able to basically get his revenge on what has happened. And then because of Six being taken through the TV tower, she lost her soul. She feels empty. She doesn't know what's missing out of her. She's trying to fill that void, and that's what we see in Little Nightmares 1, where she's constantly eating anything to try to fill that void, to find a sense of completion, and she ends up eating things like, most likely other children, but we see, at least through, I believe, the DLC, we see her eat a gnome. I think they're called little guys with mushroom hats. She eats one of them, even though they offer her food, and for the end of the game, when she beats the I memorized it all. The one who runs the food court at the end of the restaurant at the end, the Hmong or whatever. She defeats her, eats her to gain her ability of like soul snatching, and she walks through the residence thinking that the soul snatching will like fill her void of not having a soul, and that's kind of how we see at the end of that. Basically, it's a story of, hey, this guy has powers, but he tries to hide it to try to like not scare others away, and he wants to kind of fit in, but he saves someone. That person, is their friend for a while, but through meeting his future self, she gets freaked out figuring out what he is and what he could be, and decides to betray him, and because of that betrayal, it makes a cycle of revenge and betrayal. And then she, throughout, that's how she loses her soul. So basically his revenge for betraying her is taking her soul. And that's why in the first game it's kind of aftermath where she's kind of dealing with the consequences of her choices, and now she's got to try to fill the void that was caused by her own hand, basically. And the whole world, with the restaurant owner, the tall man, which is future Mono, those kind of people are what change the environment. They also change the adults through things like the TVs and the food and sucking their soul out. But anyways, that's about it really for the story. It's kind of a very simple one. There's some more background stories of hey, this is why these people do what they do. Or hey, this is what the doctor does, which is mostly testing on what a human body can do. But we're not going to really get into it. It's more of just because of these beings, that's how the world is. And because of these two main characters, it makes a whole cycle of why the games are. And it's basically kind of like a story of Telltale's The Walking Dead, where it's your choices matter. They affect yourself, they affect others, and they can have huge impacts. And then I believe the state of the world in this universe is based on people, the just real life thing of hey, if you're addicted to TV, you're just a follower, a sheep to whatever the TV wants you and the people behind it want you to do. Or hey, gluttony will consume your life. You'll be wanting nothing but food. Or your addictions will take a hold of you. It's basically what the Little Nightmares story is about. And because of you wanting that addiction, you'll go to any lengths to get it, which means you may become a monster in the development and with your choices. But anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one. Tomorrow we'll be having we'll have the end of the reimagining. I'm going to be doing both GT and Super tomorrow. That way we can just finish it all up and move on. But anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.